Hey there, it's BoardGameDave, and Happy New Year! Today is January 1st, 2023, and you know what that means? It's time for us to take a look back at all the games I added to my collection last year in 2022. This past year, I added 29 games to my collection, bringing my total number of games up to 84, I believe, games in my collection. Yes, that's a lot of games. Yes, I'll be doing some calling in 2023, but for right now, let's take a look at all the games I added in my collection in chronological order, starting with Moonshine Empire. Moonshine Empire is a game I got in a giveaway from Professor Meg, and it's a really fun game where you're making moonshine and delivering moonshine to your customers. It's a lot of fun, and it's really funny too. It's got lots of humorous elements too. It's very, very goofy, but really good game from Barrel Age Games. I've played it solo, haven't got a chance to play it with other people, but it is a really solid, really fun game. Number 2 was Brass Birmingham, one of my absolute favorite games. I loved this game for a long time before I finally bought it. I think I played it first in 2019, so finally bought this game last year, and it is absolutely top 10 games. It's heavy, it's Euro, it's economic. You're building trains and canals and making connections and exporting coal and iron and all this good stuff. It's a wonderful, fantastic game by Martin Wallace. Number 3 was Seas of Havoc. This is a preview copy I received from Rock Manor Games. In this game, you are pirates doing some deck building, moving your ships around a 6x6 grid, rolling some dice, attacking each other, and it's basically a free-for-all skirmish game where you're trying to be the last one surviving. Lots of fun. I did get a chance to play that with some friends and solo, and it's a really good, very clever game that incorporates a lot of different mechanics. Number 4 is an enormous game called Endeavor Age of Sail. Now, I pride myself on keeping a very small shelf of shame. These are games in my collection that I haven't had a chance to get to the table, and this is actually one of just 3 games in that shelf of shame. We'll talk about all 3 of them today, but I have played it before. It's an incredible game, but I haven't, played this copy since I bought it. And it's just incredible. It plays better with more players, which is probably why I haven't gotten a chance to play this copy yet. But in it, you're sailing, you're occupying cities, you're attacking your rivals. Really simple rule set, but so much fun and replayability and variability. I love this game. And really need to get this copy played sometime soon. Number 5 is Marco Polo 2 in the Service of the Khan. This is one of those games that I became absolutely obsessed with. Like, read the rule book, read through the forums, watched probably every video on YouTube about this game, and this was back in March 2022, and I could not find a copy. It was really hard to get a copy at the time, so I actually ended up getting a used, somewhat battered German copy, and I've been using that to play, but it's such a great game. I played it a bunch solo with a variant on BGG, but I played it with friends too. I played it with Hannah. This is an absolutely brilliant game from Luciani and Tassini, a powerhouse duo. Of course, no surprise, it's an incredible game that's right up my alley. I love that game. Number 6 is Azul Queen's Garden. Now, it's actually at Hannah's place right now. We played it a whole bunch together when I first got that copy. I also came up with a solo variant. I'll leave a link to that down in the description, but I let a friend borrow it and then he gave it back, and I don't think we've played it since, although I am itching to play Queen's Garden again. It's one of my favorite of the Azul games, and if you want Azul but with more complexity, it's definitely a totally different kind of game, but it's really, really good. Number 7 is Cheaty Mages. Now, this game came up in my video when I reviewed my entire collection, and I said then, and I'll say it again now, I have no idea what this game is about. I got it for free at S'mores and Meeples in our goodie bag, and you go and explore and attack dragons and stuff, and I have absolutely no idea what this game is about. So, Cheaty Mages is number 7. Number 8 was Six Nymphed or Take 5. This is a game I played a whole bunch on Board Game Arena, finally got my own copy, and I've been having such a blast teaching this game to my family and friends who are more casual gamers, and it is a perfect game for non-gamers because it's so random. Even if you're like me and you've played it a whole bunch and you feel like you're pretty good, you can end up in absolutely last place because it's so chaotic and it's so unpredictable, and the more players the better. This is such a fun game. I highly encourage you to check out Take 5. Maybe play it on Board Game Arena. Number 9 is King Domino. This is another very simple game that I played a whole bunch on Board Game Arena and then bought my own copy. It's a great family weight game, really easy for casual gamers to pick up. In this game, you're drafting these tiles, kind of like dominoes, and you just add them to your kingdom, and at the end of the game, you score points for how many crowns you have times the number of tiles in that adjacent land type or whatever. Super simple, but really, really clever kind of drafting mechanism by Bruno Cathala, who's a genius designer. So King Domino, very, very good. Again, also on Board Game Arena and worth checking out for sure. Number 10 is Tiny Towns. I won this game in an Instagram giveaway, and I'm so glad I did because it was already on my radar as a game that I could teach to non-gamers, casual gamers, family members, cousins, all that good stuff. It's super simple. On your turn, you just call out a kind of resource, and everybody takes that brick or wood or glass, sticks it on their 4x4 grid, and eventually, once you have a certain pattern, you can turn those into buildings that score you points. That's all there's to it. It's super easy to play. It's got a solo mode that's really satisfying. King Domino, Tiny Towns, really great, simple game. Number 11 is Point Salad, another game that I won in that same giveaway. Point Salad is a very simple game. You can teach this game in about 30 seconds. On your turn, you either pick 2 veggies or you pick a scoring card. That's it. At the end of the game, you score your veggies based on your scoring cards, and that's it, right? The player with the most points wins. Point Salad is an absolutely essential game for your collection as a gateway game, as a casual game for non-gamers, family members. I love Point Salad. Number 12 was Project L. I actually just played this game with a friend this week. He's borrowing my copy because he liked it so much and he wants to play it with his wife. But Project L is basically like Tetris the board game. You take these dinky pieces and you use them to fill in these patterns, these shapes, and when you do, you usually get some points and you get better tiles. So you can use those tiles to complete bigger, more ambitious shapes and patterns and stuff. It's a great game. I love Project L. Hannah really loves Project L too, so we love playing that one together. Great game for 1 to 4 players. Number 13 was a game called Crown of Amara by Benjamin Schwartz. Now, this is a game that somehow flew way under the radar, but it is absolutely a hidden gem. It's such a good design. During your turn, you're going to play an action card from your hand, and then also you're going to move one of your dudes around one of these 2 rondels. Okay, there's one side where you collect resources, and then in the town, you're going to use those resources to get coins or favors or prestige points or help kind of build housing for your citizens and stuff. The theme is super generic, and I think that was part of why it didn't get a lot of buzz, but the design is absolutely brilliant. I love Crown of Amara. I played it solo a bunch. I've played it with other people. It's a really, really solid game. I just don't know where to put it. I'll put it right in front of the lamp. The next 2 games were the sequels to Century Golem Edition, and those are Eastern Mountains and An Endless World. So you're still doing essentially the same thing. You're getting gems and upgrading them to get golems, but in Eastern Mountains, you're doing a whole bunch of route building. So you've got this big hexagonal grid, and you're moving your caravan around, doing trades, getting golems, recruiting them, all that good stuff. And then in Endless World, you're doing the same thing, but with worker placement. So you've got all these workers, you can get new workers, put them out all over the place, reveal new worker placement spots. It's really, really great. And you might already know that the Century games are really brilliant and very unique because you can actually mix and match the 3 games. So you could play 1 and 3 together, you could play 2 and 3 together, you could play all 3 together, which is extremely intriguing. And when you do that, it just kind of mixes and matches the mechanisms from each of the different games. So you can do some route building, plus worker placement, plus hand management, all that good stuff. Brilliant games by Emerson Matsuuchi. And yeah, they're incredible. I wish I played them some more, but they're really wonderful games. Number 16 was Livingston, an older game by the same designer as Crown of Amara. Now, this game was recommended to me on Twitter by Johnny Pack, another game designer, and as soon as I looked into the game a little bit, I got super obsessed with the rules and the gameplay. I was absolutely fixated. Finally got a copy. It's another game that's a little bit hard to find. And I played it with Hannah and her sister Rachel, and Rachel liked it more than Hannah did. It's a little bit unpredictable, and Hannah had some issues with some of the game design, but it's just such a fun game. It's really easy to teach, and you play, I think it's 10, 11 rounds. Super simple. You put some tents out, you score some points, and I love it. It's so much fun. Livingston is a really cool game you should check out. Number 17 was another review copy game. This is Wizards of the Grimoire from Grimoire Games. In this game, 2 players are going to be duking it out to the death to become Keeper of the Grimoire. So you'll be drafting spells, adding them to your tableau, activating your spells using mana, and doing damage to your opponents and building up your mana engine and stuff. It's really clever. It's really satisfying. A very wonderfully designed game for 2 players. And if you like games like Magic the Gathering, my friend Gary loves MTG, and I taught him this and he really liked it. Kind of gave him the same feeling. So I'll review this very soon. Wonderful, excellent game. Number 18 was another review copy game. This is the Guild of Merchant Explorers from AEG. RPG. Hannah and I have been playing this game and really enjoying it. In this game, it's almost like a flip 'em right, except instead of writing things on a piece of paper, you'll be putting wooden components on your board. But essentially, it plays the same way. You flip a card that has terrain types, you put your cubes down to kind of mark those terrain types, and you're trying to build little colonies and build towers and explore and find treasures and coins, and whoever has the most coins at the end of the game wins. We will review this sometime very, very soon. Hannah and I would like to get her on board for another two-person review. Number 19 was a big one, the biggest game in my collection. It is Endless Winter Paleo Americans from Fantasia Games. I waited a year and a half for this game to come out. My first Kickstarter I ever backed, and it has definitely met my expectations. It is an extraordinary game. There's worker placement and deck building and area control. It's got everything I like in a board game, and it is just an absolutely exceptional game. Top 3 games for sure. But yeah, I just love Endless Winter. It's so good. There was a time when I first got it, I was playing it literally every single day. And yeah, I haven't played it a little bit. Need to get it back to the table. There's so much to explore with the expansions, the cave paintings, the ancestors. There's so much to do, so much to explore in this game, and I will find a place to put it right now. I'll have to move this globe somewhere else just for the time being, but number 20 is another game from Fantasia Games. This is a prototype copy of Unconscious Mind. This is an incredible game that I was lucky enough to help playtest, and I was one of the 2 community managers for the Kickstarter campaign, which, by the way, raised over $1 million. So I am affiliated with Fantasia Games in a small capacity, so if you want to take what I say about this game with a grain of salt, go for it. But Unconscious Mind is a brilliant game in which you are in the close circle of Sigmund Freud's crew of psychotherapists, and in this game you're going to be getting clients and kind of treating their traumas with different techniques and therapies, which you'll be gaining throughout the course of the game as you travel around Vienna, as you kind of interact with Freud, as you go to theaters and cafes and libraries and become inspired, and you'll publish your own treatises that other players can cite and reference, and it is just extraordinary. It's kind of like an action selection sort of game. There's a rondelle involved. It's really good. If you haven't looked into Unconscious Mind, I highly recommend that you do, and I don't know where to put this, so I'll put it somewhere up there. Number 21 was the Red Cathedral. Now, this game in my mind has a lot of parallels to Crown of Amara. It's kind of got a generic theme. You're going to be collecting resources, building a tower. It's got a rondelle, you know, a lot of similarities, but this game seemed to have gotten a lot more attention, and the gameplay is just magnificent. I also think that people appreciate that it's a big game in this tiny, tiny little box, and it's got these dice that you use. You're going to be moving that many spaces as there are pips, collecting things, activating kind of the special assistants or apprentices that are at each spot, and it's got a really cool area majority thing for each segment of the tower. Whoever kind of contributed the most gets extra points. It's very, very clever. It's got 2 different ways of scoring. There's prestige points and reputation points, I think, but I've played it solo, haven't played it with other people yet. I've been meaning to do that, but haven't had a chance, but that is Red Cathedral. Number 22 was Scout from Oink Games. This is a game I played for the first time at the World Series of Board Gaming. It's such a tiny box, and in this game, you're going to be playing tricks, basically, and apparently it's called a ladder game where you need to beat the tricks that other people play, and if you do, you get some of their bucks. Now, if you can't beat somebody else's trick, you kind of scout one of the circus performers from the trick that they played and add it to your hand, and oh my gosh, it's so clever. It's got this wonderful gimmick where you can't rearrange the cards in your hand. I love Scout. I've played it so much. I've taught it to so many people since I've gotten it, and I love it. I love that you can just throw it in your glove compartment, and you've got a really solid, awesome, really fun, easy to teach game, super portable. Scout is fantastic. Number 23 was Verdant, which is currently at Hannah's place, which makes a lot of sense because I pretty much bought that game just for her. Hannah loves houseplants, and Verdant is all about collecting houseplants, making sure they have enough sunlight and water and giving them fertilizer, and also collecting decor that matches with the rooms that they're in and kind of building up the ambiance of those rooms. It's really fantastic. It's a drafting game, kind of like Cascadia and Calico. If you like those games, you'll definitely like Verdant. It's beautiful. I love the artwork. I love that each plant card is a totally different plant, and it's got fun facts about each one, kind of like Wingspan does with the birds. So I love Verdant. Hannah and I really love playing this peaceful game, and it's got a great solo mode too. Number 24 was Splendor Duel. I just reviewed this game on this channel last week, and I am in love with this game. I've played it so many times with Hannah. I played it solo with this variant by Tom Scott on BoardGameGeek. I played it with Connor. I played it with Gary. It's just an extraordinary game. They took all the best best elements of Splendor and compressed it into this two-player game and added really fun, really tense, really tight two-player mechanics that are mean and tense and just build this sense of kind of building tension and rising excitement. I love Splendor Duel. This is an incredible game. Really glad it's in my collection. I highly recommend you check out Splendor Duel. And we're down to the last 5 games that I added to my collection last year. Number 25 is a very small box game called Dandelions that I just got. It's actually at Hannah's place right now, but my friend Marcus taught this game to me at PAX Unplugged, and it's so simple. Ready? In the game, 2 to 3 players are going to be rolling 11 dice. On your turn, you choose one of your dice and move your marker that many spaces on the perimeter of the flower, okay? Whatever petal you end up on, you put your die on that petal and you score that many points at the end of the game. But here's the catch. There's several more layers, right? You can also move each other's dice around to different petals, and there's also area majority. So whoever has the most dice on each petal at the end of the game, you score points based on all the dice on that petal, like how many pips you have. So if you have a 6 and a 5 and a 3, you get 14 points for that petal. It's really fantastic, super easy to teach, but has a lot of complexity and hidden layers underneath the very simple mechanism. So I love Dandelions, definitely a wonderful small box game. Number 26 was another review copy game I received called Dated. And not only is the packaging and design super clever and cute, but it's a really straightforward trivia game where you just guess when certain things happen, like events or when certain TV shows or movies or games came out. And that's it. Like, there's almost no rules. You just go around and everybody guesses a year, and if you get closest or if you get right on it, you get the card. That's it. So I don't have it here because Hannah and I took it home to Pittsburgh where her family lives, and we played it a whole bunch. And the one time we played with 15 players aged 23 to 93, and we had a blast with this game. And I can't say enough good things about it. So I'll review the game very soon, but it's called Dated. It's definitely worth checking out. It's a great little trivia game. Number 27 is definitely the biggest surprise of all the games I added to my collection this year. Are you ready for this? Number 27, I just got it last week, is Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. You might already know that I am kind of becoming a not strictly Euro gamer. I'm playing things like Dungeons and Dragons. I'm playing things like Destinies. I'm playing things like Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. So I just received this game. I got it. I played it the day I got it. Played 2 scenarios. It is a really solid game. I'm only playing it solo, and I'm having a blast with it so far. So yeah, I took a risk. It was really cheap. I got it for $19, and I was like, you know what? Everyone's always raving about Gloomhaven, and they love Jaws of the Lion as well, so I figured it's a small box-ish, and it'll be a great way for me to kind of ease my way into the world of Gloomhaven. So I'm liking it so far. I have played 4 scenarios, and I'm looking forward to many, many more. And the last 2 games I added to my collection in 2022 were both free games that I just received from Ravensburger as part of their holiday welcome package, and they just randomly, for no reason, sent me 2 free games, which I have been ecstatic about. The first was Push, which is a really simple push your luck game. Hannah and I have played this already several times since I got it, and basically all you do on your turn is you draw cards until you either pass or bust. And if you bust, you have to roll this die, and then whatever color it is, you lose all of your cards of that color, which is really punishing because those cards are your points. So Hannah and I are really enjoying this game. I really, really love Push. And the other game that was in the box was a game called Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. Now, this is a game that was totally not on my radar, but I've opened it up. I watched a Rodney Smith video on how to play it, and basically, it's just a roll and write game. So you roll some dice, and everybody makes some combinations with those dice and marks off those spaces on their board. And along the way, you're going to be kind of fighting monsters and exploring and finding treasures, I assume, and doing all those kinds of dungeon-related things. But apparently, it's a very simple game. It's for ages 12 and up, 1 to 4 players. It's got a solo mode, and it's not very long. So I'm really looking forward to giving this game a try, either solo or with other players, and we'll see how much I like it. But I feel like this is going to be a game I really enjoy. So thank you, Ravensburger, for sending me those 2 free games. Again, totally out of the blue and unexpectedly, but I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And there you have it, everybody. All of the games I added to my collection last year, 29 extraordinary games that range from really simple games to super heavy games to tiny games to huge games to everywhere in between. I love my board game collection, and I really go out of my way to make sure I am playing these games, of course, and not just kind of accruing them and letting them build up and not get played. So And if I need to call games, of course, I am certainly willing to do that in 2023. 84 games, it's a big collection, so I'm trying to keep it streamlined and as minimalist, I suppose, as I can. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and thank you all so much for all the support in 2022. I hope that you and your loved ones have an incredible, wonderful year full of friendship and laughter and love and board games. In the comments down below, let me know what some of your favorite games that you added to your collection last year were, and in the meantime, have a wonderful week, take care, and happy gaming. Bye. Number 8 was 6 Nymphed or Take 5. This is a game that Number 16 was Livingston, also by Benjamin Schwer. Benjamin Learsh. Number 20, number 19, number 7.